welcome Ajax head coach Francesco Farioli. Excellent. By the way, this is commitment for you. His team were playing in the Eredivisie last night. 2-2 draw against FC 20. Well done.
Yeah.
You're okay, you've got your own microphone,
yes,
but I do have something special for you.
Thank you so much.
Because we're ready to listen to your masterclass.
Thank you so
Francesco,
much.
take it away.
So, yeah, it's a big pleasure to be here after so many years. As Walter and Ivan said before, it's about football, but especially it's about connection, people. And here in front of me there are many people that are still with me from this journey, and you will see later, but also people that we crossed the road and somehow at some point it was fantastic to meet them again for a few minutes and to hug, because at the end football brings a lot of emotion. As you can see in the sideline, I'm quite active and I live with the feeling of the games, with the emotion of the game. And there is nothing better than to share this emotion with the people that you are suffering together, working together, and spending a lot of time and energy together. Because as you know, in this room, all of us, we like to win, or we try to win, but the success is always, something that you cannot predict. You can just aim for and try to really to push yourself and push the people with you to try to go over there. So now let's see if the technology will support me and if I will be able to move the pieces in the proper way. And as I said, I really would like to start with a picture that I think is quite relevant, because it was my first picture when I was here, 2015, December 2015. And the nice part of this one, that I came here, I was 26 years old, alone with my bag of dreams, but mainly I came alone. So in one country far away from my home, without any quality to be able to speak English. Also, it was quite difficult for me at the beginning. As you can imagine, I like to talk quite a lot, but in the first period it was a big challenge for me to be able to connect. And 2 years after, I was a bit less alone. These are the people that we share many moments together. In this case, not with let's say the results that we wanted, but with a lot of work and a lot of commitment to this project. That, as Mr. Ivan Bravo said before, to see in the national team some of our players is something that. Year after, if you speak about vision, about putting the effort without knowing what is going to grow into the future, and to see now that some of our kids are football players, are men, and they are helping the country to be recognized all over the world. I think it's, years later give us something special for us. And as Walter said before, it's about football, but it's also about connection and to be with people, and people that, by the way, let's see, it's going. People that are with me since my first experience as a head coach, that it was in Turkey 5 years ago. Of course, as you can see, there are a lot of people in yellow, and this is the part, football is growing, the staff are getting bigger. In this picture, of course, the players, but especially the people in yellow are the ones that somehow at some point became your family. From this picture, there is our analyst that I met in Turkey and stays with us. In our experience in France, Daniele, that I met years ago in Lucchese when I was in Italy, just before to come to Qatar, and the other people that now you will see here with the sideboard are people from Aspire family, people that I met here, that we build our relationship based on mainly at the beginning the desire to be together and to really work to try to make the best for this incredible project, because honestly it's very difficult to find a different word to describe what Aspire is and what Aspire it means for us, and of course for all of you that you know quite well this organization and this process. And nothing. So if we speak about friendship and we keep some of the keywords that we used before, I think it's a very nice example of what Aspire means to us. And nothing to go through in our presentation, and in which is I would say to try to bring a small contribution. I decided, and we decided, because here today there is quite a big presence of my current technical staff. And of course, being responsible of a club with this history and this reputation is a big responsibility. But before to arrive there, I think the part that is the most interesting one is to try to understand how things, at least for myself, started, which was the real motivation and the real desire to go through and to try to put the things together and to connect the things together. And at the end, I think that, as Ivan said before, when we evaluate coaches, most of the time is about the last results or the last 2-3 results. But for all of us that we work in football, we know how many things we are doing to try to constantly move forward and improve and get better and better. And at least for myself and for us, one of the main reasons that really motivate us to take this step and to move in this direction has been like the desire to try to apply our ideas, but especially to apply our taste about football. So one of the main reasons it was to try to combine the knowledge that, of course, you are going to get watching games, knowing people, sharing ideas, and after, when you sit at home, that you try to think about or you dream about how your team has to play, to try to make things together and from there to go. And if we speak and if we go exactly in this direction about putting the things together and choose what you like, I think it's an operation that we are quite used to do when we are at home and we are on Netflix trying to choose, the movie that we want to pick. At the end, is something that is happening, I think, to all of us at least a couple of times per week. And, we are always in front of decisions, and we have always the opportunity to take something with us and to choose what is close to our taste and our feeling. And so I made this joke to try to move and to change the face of the movies, for example, with some coaches. And from there, to try to, because at the end, when you start, you try to pick the one that you feel closer, or the one that make you think and make you move in a certain direction. And this one is one activity that at the end, the picking ideas and putting the things together helps you to create a starting point that, in my time in 2014, before to come here, it was, how to say, many ideas, but not with a lot of order. And what Aspire really helped me to do, it was to try to put a bit in order what I had inside, to be finally in one place where you can learn from the people close to you, where the organization can help you to grow. And I used to repeat this one, that for me the experience here in Aspire has been one type of university, and with the opportunity also to have time to work and to work quite a lot on the pitch, because the program is quite intense. So from this experience, so let's say with the ideas, the self-knowledge, and this amazing opportunity to work for a couple of years in Aspire, of course you start to build your own identity that after, through the time and going forward and moving forward, there is always opportunity to add. And this is, I think, something that basically move all of us, this desire to create space and to open gaps to bring new things inside. And at the end, for all the coaches, there are for me 3 key elements in the way of building our idea. One is the game model. The other one is what you are going to face in every weekend, and now with this particular schedule every 2 days. So how you are going to approach the game, because the games are never the same. And the other part, of course, is to build a method that can help you to facilitate the other part. The game model is one perspective, is one utopia somehow, is something that, in my opinion, is always growing and moving. And also in this part, of course, the contribution of the players and the environment where you work helps you to move some pieces. But this one, for me, are the key elements that as a coaches and as a technical staff, we like to keep with us. And especially, again, of course, the analysis to be really self-critical with ourselves. And in the other side, to have, of course, principles that are always there and part of things that you would like to see all the time into your team. But in the other side as well, to have a certain level of flexibility and capability to adapt and to adjust according to the situation. So, and this one, let's say, is one of the main reflection or thoughts that I always had in my mind, and that we are, as I said, every day try to move forward. I don't know why the screen is not moving forward. If we can give a touch, please. Okay, perfect. So this one is exactly the same, but basically, of course, from this structure and this rigid idea, let's say, to really make it simple, because at the end, to add many things, this one is a work for the technical staff. After, for the players, we need to be able to really, make simple and to squeeze as much as possible, like the concept. And if we really want to go in the shortest way, our game model and what we are trying to apply basically is everything is based about the concept of the free player. So in possession, to try to look and to find the free player, and out of possession, to try to avoid for the opponent to find the free man. And after, from there, to have of course, like a deepest analysis. That is one is much more for the technical stuff. Preparing the presentation, I think also, if you speak about changes and evolution, it was also quite significant to use the image of the metro of Doha. That has been one of the main activities that changed the face of the city. And we try to put over the metro stops like the main point and the main part of our game model, our game strategy, and the topics that we are going to analyze. And of course, the method, that is the part that is building and creating the process to try to apply both the game model and the game strategy. But more than everything, I think that the part that is, can we go? Yeah. The part, and this one is always what, how to say, make us move the most, I think, are the questions that are always open topics that through the time give us usually different answer. And before to go through, I think there are the two main, so as you can see, there are 5 different questions, the one in red, the one in yellow, and the one in green. But especially for me, there are the 2 in blue that are the key elements to really help us. And if you really want to go in terms of principle, like the not negotiable elements that are relevant for the way that we work and for the effort that, as we spoke before, we try to put every day on. At the end, okay, how to win, I think all of us, we are agree, and all of us, we have very clear the answer. But the most important part for me is, in the moment that we start, to be really aware that every decision is going to bring consequences, positive or negative. And how we are going to deal with the negative consequence of what we do, I think, is the priority and one of the most important part to really, to say, be aware of. And one of the reasons why some years ago I decided to move from the goalkeeper coach position, as at my time I was here, and to try to move in this direction, it was mainly about these 2, how to say, questions, and to try to keep as much as possible the coherence in between these 2 question mark, and especially with the answer that I try to give. So yesterday we mentioned before the results of yesterday and yesterday night in the flight. I think it was somehow important to add, which is the meaning of the way that you want to lose, because at the end, if you ask the player to play, to try to be dominant, to try to take the lead of the game, to try to take initiative, we have to be at some point to put in consideration also the fact that something could go a bit different from what is planned and what we want. So this one is from the game of yesterday. We are the blue team. In this case, we lost the ball and we conceded the goal of the 1-0. And as you can see, football is, yes, about joy, but it's also about the reaction in front of the pain and in front of the sufferance for a mistake. And this one, of course, is something that is happening because football is a game made by mistake. Of course, all of us, we are working every day to try to reduce as much as possible this type of moment and this type of feeling. But at the end, this is the reality that we have to cope with. We are working with humans. And as I said, is how us as a technical staff, we are able to approach and to try to go in the direction of the player to sustain the process and of course to be really connected with the day-by-day situation. And of course, in this case, if you check the method, you see already a couple of words that in football are quite, it's always there, short-term and long-term. So how we are able, or how we should be able to combine these two things. So what is for today and also what is for the future, and how us as a technical staff we can contribute and we can help our players and our boys to try to grow and to stay, let's say, into the... We should be able to combine these two things. So what is for today and also what is for the future, and how us as a technical staff we can contribute and we can help our players and our boys to try to grow and to stay, let's say, into the plan. So going a bit through, again, try to simplify it and make it really simple. After, of course, if we want to go deeper and deeper, there are principles, sub-principles, and details, etc., etc. But once again, what needs to arrive to the players, in our opinion, is a clear message. So once again, with keywords that can help the players to recognize the moment, and basically with the ball to have like a different solution to go through and to arrive to score, and in the other way, which type of feelings we want to have when we are defending, but in the way that we are defending also, of course, there is our way of attacking, because at the end, football, yes, is split by phases. These are the game phases that we are used to work, but more than, take things like in separate boxes. I think one of our main priorities as a coach, and let me say the biggest challenge for us as a coach, is to try to put all the game phases, and I try to use the images of the crosswords, because I believe that our main job, if we go into the methodological part and in the part that how we want to deliver the message to the player, is how we are able to combine all the different moments into of the game and to put it all together. And as much as we are able to, keep the space tight and to connect the things together, in my opinion, better it is for, let's say, the fluidity of the game and the capacity to be really, like, in every moment and in every phase, to behave as a team and to have clearly one idea about what to do. In this part, this one is one of the parts that requires a lot of attention and a lot of dedication in the way of taking decisions that sometimes lead you to lose something in certain area in order to keep a little bit, the structure of all the phases. To make it simple, and after we will see some images that I think will help and will clarify. Maybe in a build-up zone 1, that is what we call like the building up in the first 30 meters on the pitch, could be that a certain structure could give us some advantages, but somehow this advantage that we have in that phase of the game could affect what is happening in some other moment. So basically the message is, if you move one letter of the map, to have very clear that all the time that you move one piece is going to affect all the rest. So all the time that we take a decision, and that's why the hours that we spend in the office and the discussion that we have in between us are always in this direction, because we love to challenge each other, we love to push our limits in the way, okay, if we do this one, which are the consequences, positive or negative? And this one, as I said, I think is one of the main duties that as technical staff we have in terms of responsibility and clarity in front of our players. So here are some examples. We start with the defensive organization. As we spoke before, one of the main word that we use, it was the idea to suffocate, so like to really put pressure onto the opponent. So this is a moment of pressing goal kick. Most of the time, the majority of the time, we try to be really man-to-man oriented in order to give this feeling of full pressure on. So here are a couple of examples. And the desire again to recover the ball and to regain the domain of the ball, and again in this type of situation to try to recover, catch the team open and unbalanced, and from there to try to get and to maximize the opportunity to go to score. As I said, when we defend, it's also a moment to attack, and when we attack, there is also a way of defending. Of course, we spoke before about the game strategies. All the time, and there are, let's say, more games inside of the same game, so the flexibility and the capability to adjust according to the situation. So in the action before, they try to play. In this case, they close the team to go for a direct ball. So to be able to recognize and to have, again, structures and possible solutions to facilitate the life of the players in every different moments, and after, of course, especially the capacity for the players to really feel part of and to automatize what they are doing, so to create a type of fluidity in everything that is going to happen. And we will see later one of the priority in modern football, where the intensity is going up and the time every day is lower and lower and lower. The priority is to try to develop players that are able to execute somehow before to decide, to get the information. So this capacity to anticipate and to be constantly some second or at least part of seconds in advance, in order to be to have already the solution in mind, and when one solution is closed, to try to find another one. Here, other situation, moment of high press. Same scenario. Try to, in this case, to force the opponent to commit a mistake and to lose the ball. From there, to recover and to score. Same situation from another match. So this feeling of putting pressure, try to reduce as much as possible the time for the opponent to think and to take decisions, and after, from the moment of imbalance, to try to get the best advantage possible. And again, these are type of habits or things that we really want as a, of course, ideal scenario, and this is something that we would like to do, of course, in every moment that we don't have the ball, because this is what we like and what we want to do. But in the other side, also football is as I said before, is based by a moment where you are not in control, so you need to create the conditions to get the control again. Here we are, the blue team, in a moment of, how to say, waiting and generating the conditions to start to defend. Of course, ideally to recover and to go to score, or like in this case, to avoid the progression of the opponent and to defend and not to concede the scenarios and the possibility for them to hurt us. Here, in this case, from our basic shape, we are used to defend in the let's say, medium low block with a line of 5, dropping with a number 6 in the line, and creating a shape of 5-3. And again, in this moment, it was difficult to arrive to get the ball, and it was a moment of, how to say, preparation for us to go again and to try to recover the ball. But what is important is to have the 11 players thinking the same thing in the same moment. And as you can see, also the players that are far from the ball, how they interact and how they collaborate to each other in order to force the opponent to take the wrong decision, or for sure not to open up too many solutions, because after it's also true that we need to recognize, and we have to recognize the qualities of the opponent, the characteristic of the opponent, and the capacity in certain moment to suffer and to struggle also a bit lower. Another situation of defending low, in this case even lower, but again with the desire to force the opponent to try to get the ball, and from getting the ball to try to get the advantage of the structure with a combination, and from there to have the opportunity to counterattack, like in this case, and to arrive to generate opportunities. Once again, in the moment that we defend, there is also a moment of attack. After going even deeper, in this case, you can see in the middle of the box quite a big fight and big challenge in order to defend the goal, and this is also something that is really important. In this case, we were with 10 men, with one man less. Few minutes missing against one team that was really physical and really aggressive in delivering a lot of crosses. So the attitude to defend also inside of the box with a certain capability, with a certain physicality. So you can enjoy a couple of moments that, if we speak about crossing, like the sport, this is quite a big mix between football and some boxing situation. So very physical, and that's why, once again, when we speak about everything that creates the performance, how important it is to be physically strong and physically confident in order to have the capacity to sustain this type of duels and this type of activities. After, there is the other part that is us with the ball, so what we want to do, and this part is a bit counterintuitive, because we believe that we decide what to do. The reality that in the way that we approach the game is the opponent that is telling us what to do. So according to the type of scenario that we face, to try to have a variability of solution that help us to find the proper chance. So in this case, against one team that was coming to press quite aggressive, man-to-man, in this case the game naturally became a bit more vertical. And as you will see, in basically 2 passes, the opportunity to go to score and to attack the depth. So from this type of situation that sometimes can happen, from other games where the pressure is on but requires some extra passes in order to progress on the pitch, so the concept of the free man and the capacity to progress through the free man according to what the opposition is doing and try to close. So as I mentioned just 1 minute before, is just to find the time, the patience in order to eliminate and to have a clean progression on the pitch, and from a situation of low building up to try to arrive to attack with the best condition possible and the best scenario to go to score or to have a chance. Sometimes this one, in the last 2 clips, we saw a very clean action that lead us to a shot. In this case, you will see that it's not to go to shoot, but it's just to win meters and to move the team some meters up, and from there to start to play a different type of game phase. So to play in a different scenario. So from zone 1 to what we call zone 2 and opposite half. And here, from the game of yesterday, another situation, so bowling game, situation where the goalkeeper is highly involved to find the superiority and to help us to have a clean building up on the pitch. And in the moment that we eliminate, to try to attack with conditions and advantage in order to try to arrive with a better chance in the opposite half to go to score. This one we can open the topic if it was penalty or not. Still we are in discussion, but okay, was not, at least for the referee. Some other example of the same topic, different matches, different opponent, different way of pressing, and of course same main principle, but different solution and different possibility, and also the rhythm. Okay, so to have the patience to really bring them out make them jump, and in the moment that they jump, to recognize the proper progression and the proper evolution on the pitch, but with the feeling of occupying the space in a proper way. And finally, and basically, to try to force them to run through their goal. Different shape of the opponent, different matches, and again, sometimes the preparation takes a bit long because you have to try to stimulate the others to really come to press, and in the moment that they change the rhythm, to change the rhythm too. So in this case, to be like a bit reactive, that is not maybe the correct sentence, but to be ready for the possible scenarios. And from there, again, to try to get the momentum, to win the momentum, and to go through. Of course, with the players, what we try to do is to try to give the best possibilities possible. After, it's up to their talent, and we need the players and their interpretation to really find the moment of the game, and it's their interpretation that make the difference. And in this moment, this is the right center back that is attacking almost as a winger. So the other part of the game that, of course, is quite important is when we are able to move some meters up on the pitch. So what we call zone 2 in the limit of, in this case already, type of almost opposite half. And again, quite a lot of passes before to really find the moment and to create the imbalance into the opponent. And from there to try to arrive to attack the depth, like in this case, with the conditions and with the best conditions possible in order to go. After moving through on the pitch, there is the other part that is what we call in our own language like opposite half. So when the two center backs, both of them, are already with the both feet in the opposite half. And of course, this one is also quite important topic in modern football. You listen quite a lot this one in all the press conference from the coaches of the main club all over the world, how difficult it is to attack a team that is defending with 10 men behind the ball, defending very low in the last 30 meters. So this is the moment where the patience and the capacity to really wait the moment to progress is key and is fundamental. So, of course, in this moment the action is a bit less, not as fast as it was in the other action. So, requires some extra passes, some moments of preparation is the word that we usually use. And from moving is to find the moment and the gap where the opponent somehow drop the attention, and after, of course, is the creativity, is the timing to find certain passing line and certain possible progression on the pitch in order to go through. Another example. So here, as you can see, we face different. So 11 players behind the ball, but with a different structure. So this action is an action where we start basically in zone 1. We end up in the opposite half. We had, let's say, a good continuity in the opposite half. So bring them out, create a space in the back to attack, move the team, shift in the other side of the pitch, try to set ourselves in the opposite halves, and from there to try to attack. And to create the conditions in the moment that we lose the ball to have continuity in the opposite half, to recover the ball and to gain a real advantage from what is happening over there. So again, it's to make them tired of running behind us and running and following the ball. So in this case, the action that didn't go through, we lost the ball, they cleared the ball, but again, the feeling of suffocation. So to try to be there and to win balls, lost the ball, recover the ball one more time, lose it again, good reaction, recover the ball, and from there to find the momentum, and again, the quality and the combination in the tight space in order to find the goal and to find an opportunity at least. Another example, as you can see, 10 men in 15 meters, more or less. So also the confidence, and that's why for us it's very important also to train in quite tight space, because it's a scenario that we face quite a lot. So to create for the players the habits to manage and to combine in the tight space and in the tight environment, and from there to go through and to try to progress and to find the way to arrive to shoot and to if possible, of course, to score. The other part, so this is a bit like the progression about what we would like to see, but after there is the most important part, that is the most important, I don't know, but one main part is about how to build a certain way of thinking, playing, and especially how to create automatism, but especially how to create, to go a bit deeper into the players and to arrive into the level of subconsciousness. So to have the capability to take decision before to start to think. So I think it's a discussion that, especially here, having so many performance coaches about the traditional integrated training or the most recent studies about the systemic approach. So, and this part honestly is something that after being in constant evolution, we will go through in a few seconds, but of course the majority of our work is a bit in this part, so to try to create the conditions where the analysis and the perception of the around for the players is going to be something that is anticipating the event, and the event usually is when we receive the ball. I think we had a great example in the past and in the present. I think the videos of Xavi, Iniesta, and the scanning on the pitch and the capacity to check the around has been one of the they are maybe the first and the best example of this one. And for example, this is something that we learned here, or that at least I learned here for the first time 10 years ago. And this type of request and information, of course, make us think and make us move in a direction where to create an environment and training session that helps the player to be under stress, and after, in the moment that they go on the pitch, to try to make their life a bit easier. Even if it's clear that it's almost impossible to recreate the condition of the game, but to try to get as close as possible. After, because we are always trying to look forward, how to improve and how to get better, is never like to pick one and to remove the other, and especially in the last couple of seasons, also to go back a bit in the sometimes also in the traditional part, and to work a bit more, sometimes also as specific, let me say, also in the way of conditioning the player, because when you don't have too much time, sometimes to have also the opportunity to add some pills or some vitamin into the system of the player is in our opinion, is a good way of helping the player to get better and getting ready for the competition and for what they have to face. And at the end, if we want to put, let's say, our methodology in one map, let's say that this is one, I think, quite interesting and graphic way of imagining the possible drills and the possible training steps that we have, where, of course, as you can see in the top, in the left, is like the street football, okay, so like the football from the street, and in the other side, in the bottom, in the right, you see exactly the opposite, where the spaces and the indication for the players are really straight, and where let's say the impact of the technical stuff is really high. So here, if we put on the map like all the possible training steps, the one that we are used to use in our own vocabulary, this is like type of map, and where let's say where the training steps are are closer or the type of work. And it's clear that if we speak about the technical work, is a very analytic scenario, and that's why you find it in the bottom right, as well the fitness and the conditioning in a more analytic way, but as well the set pieces and what we call positional work. And from this one, there is, if we go like in a bigger picture, there is also like the fact of what we are doing using different tools and different scenarios. And the reality that for the players, what is, let's say, in this diagonal from bottom left to top right is the learning zone. So where the players are in the bottom left facilitated or not facilitated, like are stressed by the size of the pitch, and the possible variation and the rules that we put inside of the exercise. And in the top right is where the number of indication of and coaching point are really high in a normal space. This part is what we call learning zone for the player. What is a bit more like street football that after in a professional team is difficult to have it, but for example, if you speak about a mini tournament, a small competition where the players, they self-organize by themselves, we call it like exploration zone, so where the players can go a bit more in their nature, because at the end it's something that we have always to try to keep alive, to keep the instinct and the kid that start to play football always alive inside. And after, everything that is below the diagonal line, we call it specialization zone. So what we use to improve the players to be, if we speak about vitamin and pills that we can give to the players in order to be accurate, specific, and to individualize the work. After, this part is clearly something that also for us has an impact in the way of working. And if we move this analysis in our job as a coaches, we speak about teaching zone, so where and how we can help the players in a different way, where we can observe, and so like take a step back and analyze what is going on. In the other side, what is at the bottom of the teaching zone, we call it correction zone, so where, to be specific, to go through and to be really effective in the message that we want to deliver. So this is about the method. So we saw a bit of things about the game model. So the idea, the identity, the type of behaviors that we are looking from our players. As you can see, there are some points like the decision making, the freedom, but as well, so the freedom and the conscious part of the player, but also, let me say, at some point also the type of illusion of the free will, because when the process and the mechanism is automatized, is also this one is quite ideal scenario, but is what we should aim for, to try to go so deep into the soul of the players that they take decision without really knowing what they are doing. So the illusion of the free will, and as well the unconscious part. In the other side, of course, all the moments of the game strategy. So we saw before, like the very important work of the analyst. So the type of information that they give to us, and for us as a coaches, as a technical staff, to prepare like the possible scenarios, all the possible scenarios, also the unexpected one. How create in some moments also duels and possible mismatch. That it's a basketball word, not when we create like different possible advantage, the game plan, and of course in case the change of plan if it's needed. But on top of, and especially like the part that at the end put all the things together, is a bit deeper, because we want to create habits and to generate new habits, but the reality that I think there is no a better place than Aspire and Doha and Qatar for what they did in terms of vision, in terms of capacity to start to build something when nothing was there. And this one, in my opinion, most of the time it came for a word that is a bit underrated, but in my opinion is absolutely key. And you know, life at some point, like in this case, the metro, the lines of the metro cross each other, and belief is something that is really deep inside for me and for my technical stuff. And the good part that, yeah, by coincidence, yes or not, we never know, this word, the belief and the talent that are the two last word of the metro are also something that are really relevant for the culture of the club that today we have the privilege to represent. And I want to finish this meeting with one video that we saw when we arrived in Ajax, that they showed to us, and I think it's a nice way to close this presentation.
Belief. It all started with belief. All we ever needed was belief. Here, we believe in beauty, in changing the game. We believe in writing history, so we did. Here, we believe in creativity, in fighting the odds. In quality over age, talent over status, courage over fear. It's what made us. It's what flows through our streets. We believe in the power of three. We believe in know-it-alls, artists and sinners, the culture of concrete where flowers grow, where they dream of history, where they become winners. It all starts with belief.
And I feel it running through my
We are Ajax. We are for the future.
Thank you so much.